as a district, we're sitting at a 66 rating. We're in a D.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy about that. I'm not pleased with that. That's not where I want us to be. I don't think that anybody in our community wants us to be there. And so we do have some targeted work to do to achieve some movement there. But I think that we have people who are ready to do it. I think that we have people that are passionate about it. I shared with our staff what I thought were 4 key components to us having a successful year in a successful school district.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Discover Seguin. I'm your host, David Pope, and we are honored to have in our studio today Dr. Jack Lee, the newly appointed Superintendent of Seguin ISD. And we're hoping to have just an exciting conversation about what the future looks like for Dr. Lee and his family here in Seguin and for the schools that we support here. So, Dr. Lee, thank you so much for joining us.
David, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here. Excited to be in Seguin, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah.
Great place, very welcoming. I've been here for right at 2 months now. I've been very fortunate to have a community that just seems extremely supportive, that's passionate about their schools, which is a good thing. That is a good thing.
Yeah, it's still we're a growing community, but it's still a small town. So the local schools are kind of, that's the big game in town. We do have a college that performs well, which is a bit unique in a town this size. But obviously the Matadors are a place where most people's hearts lie, I would say.
Absolutely. I have met people that have been here for a short amount of time. I've met people who are on their 5th, 6th generation of Matadors. They're passionate about Matador football. They're at every football game Friday night, home or away. They're at basketball, volleyball. They're at the band concerts. They're out there supporting kids, and that's good stuff.
It is, and this is a community with some pretty deep roots, right?
Yes, sir.
And there are, as a business ourselves, we've been here well over 100 years. Started with the Donegan family, and there's a long line of Donegans, but there's a number of other families in this town who have been here for much longer than that, even.
Sure.
And still, you still see their kids, and they're still growing families here. So tell us, Dr. Lee, you come to us most recently from where?
Yes, sir. I was the superintendent in Bullard, Texas, Bullard ISD.
Bullard ISD. And as we were just talking, I went to high school at Bullard High School.
That's right.
Graduated in 93. And so it's kind of near and dear to my heart. So you had some real success there and kind of implemented some new initiatives there. Kind of tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Yeah, I was in Bullard for just shy of 6 years. I came in end of January, beginning of February of 2020.
Okay.
And
good time.
It was a great time to come into a school district as a new superintendent. We had 5 weeks of school and then went on spring break. And anybody who remembers what school was like in spring break of 2020 knows that is when COVID started becoming a much larger and more significant issue that affected the country, affected the world. And so we were in school for about 5 weeks, and then we weren't in school. And I was a new superintendent to the community. Not my first superintendency, but new in Bullard. And so it was a little bit of a challenging time. I like to think and like to tell people regularly, I earned a lot of street credibility extremely fast there. Because everything was about communication, letting people know what was going on, letting them know what was happening, what to expect for school, what to expect with their kids. We made it through that. We did what we thought was most important, which was taking care of our students, taking care of our staff and community, doing what needed to be done just to ensure that we were as successful as we could be there at the end of the school year. I think in Bullard, no different than it probably was here in Seguin or any other district across the state, there were some setbacks because of that. And I think you see that across the state with accountability and learning metrics that we see students have. We got through that period, though, started that next school year. Bullard was a fast-growing district, extremely fast-growing district. Bedroom community is probably the easiest way for me to describe it. We're 8 miles south of Tyler, maybe 10 miles north of Jacksonville or so.
Right.
You had White House there to the east, Frankston kind of to the southwest a little bit, a little bit smaller town, Frankston. But right there in the middle, just south of Tyler, was Bullard. And we had a lot of families that wanted to live in Bullard. Because our schools, like we had successful schools. We had a lot of success that happened. That success, I think, is pivotal because we had outstanding teachers. We had a good community that supported their public school. We had students that were adamant about being successful, doing what needed to be done. And because we were fast growth, because of that success, we were fast growth. And we had tons of developments that were coming in just that first year. And so we started looking at how do we plan for that growth, which led the district to looking at demographic studies and growth and things that needed to happen. And we ended up going out to our community for a $103 million bond, the largest bond that Bullard had ever considered. The largest bond before that was $40 million, about 6-7 years prior.
2.5 times.
Yes, considerably more significant, and our voters overwhelmingly passed that. So part of the success that I was able to see there as a superintendent was because of our community, because we had such a positive and influential community that wanted their schools to be successful. That bond resulted in a brand new athletic complex, baseball, softball, tennis courts. We had brand new baseball field, brand new softball field, all turf. 12 tennis courts that were all part of that same complex. We built an indoor football field, a multi-purpose facility, which allowed football players, it allowed band, it allowed all these student groups to be able to use that as part of the work.
Two-a-days will never be the same.
Never the same. No, sir. Never the same. The prime piece of that bond was a new middle school campus, which is scheduled to open probably in the next couple of months or so. Is when that is scheduled to open. And then there was additions to the current high school, additions to a couple of elementary campuses, and then renovations to what is the current middle school. The old high school, probably where you went to high school, is what's the old middle school now, or will be the old middle school as part of that work. We also did a lot academically. We focused heavily on how do we prepare students for post-secondary readiness? How are we ready for what happens after school?
Right.
And, this is my belief, whether I'm in Bullard, whether I'm in Seguin, where I'm at now, any other district, I will say something that you probably don't hear a lot of superintendents say out loud.
Okay.
I do not think that college is meant for every single student and every single person out there. There was a day and age, probably when we were in school, David, that was the big push. You got to go to college. You got to get your degree. You got to be ready to go. I don't think that the world and our nation is built around that now. It is about skill sets. It's about industry-based certifications. It's how can we get students that are prepared to be successful after high school. That doesn't mean that they have to go to college and get a 4-year degree or a master's degree, or even go and get a doctorate.
Sure.
They can be licensed electricians. They can be plumbers. They can be manufacturers.
And make more than we do.
Absolutely. They can be veterinary technicians. Like, there are so many things that are out there that are possible. And so we focused a lot on post-secondary readiness and how to get students where they need to be. But that also included the academics, because while college isn't for everyone, it is for a lot. And we need that in the world, and we need that in our country and across our state. And so how do we ensure that reading and math are where they need to be, science, social studies, those core content areas? And we really focused on curriculum and aligning curriculum across a district, all the way from pre-kindergarten to high school seniors. How are we preparing students to be there? How are we using common language so that students are prepared and understand what's happening? If it's explained to them as a kindergartner, it's the same language that gets used all the way through. So when they become a senior, they know what we're talking about. We launched out in strategic planning in Bullard. We did a 5-year strategic plan, and that included us revising our vision statement, our mission statement, what our values were and beliefs as a school district. We created a portrait of a graduate. In our case, it was a portrait of a Panther. And it was very much what we want every student to have, not reading and math or those things, but what skill sets, what values do we want them to have instilled to be successful after school, whether they're in pre-K or seniors. And so a lot of that work led into us seeing increases in accountability too. And at the peak, at the highest, we ended up having a district rating of a 95, an A overall. It was the highest rating in the county, highest rating in that area. We were very fortunate with that. But I attribute a lot of that to having dedicated teachers. Teachers are the experts in classrooms. our job as administrators and as district is to prepare them to be successful and give them the resources they need to get our kids where they need to be. And so we focused on that. And I'm looking forward to doing a lot of the same things here in Seguin.
So you said, you had a 5-year strategic plan. Have you developed a new strategic plan for Seguin yet?
Yeah. So I guess you and maybe the listeners will be the first that get to hear a little bit about that. We are getting ready to launch out into that process here. We already have some dates set aside in October where we're going to bring in stakeholders. I am a firm believer that community partnerships, parent partnerships are a key to the school district being successful. That includes, though, our parents, that includes our community business leaders, that includes community leaders, that includes students. Students need to be a part of that planning too.
Okay.
I'm a big believer of kids and students will tell you what they genuinely think they are getting, if an education is solid or not, if a classroom is engaging or not. We as the adults just have to be willing to listen to them.
Okay.
And actually hear it and not necessarily get defensive when a kid says the class is boring. Is content boring? Sometimes it is. That doesn't mean the delivery has to be. The what can be a little boring, but the how we do it is what brings it to life, and that's what creates that engagement in the classroom. So we are getting ready to launch into some strategic planning work later next month. Towards the end of the month, we'll have 4 days that we will bring several people in, large groups in, and they will be looking at exactly what I talked about. They're going to be looking at tons of data, where we are accountability and academically, financially, what our facilities are like, everything. Anything you can think of that we can get the data to them to be able to take a look at so that they can use that information to inform creating overarching goals for the district. But the overarching goals aren't the end, they're the end result. Like, that's where we want to go. They're not how you get there. So we also create action plans for each one of those goals, things that happen over that 5-year period, who's responsible for those things over that 5-year period, and what specific activities and actions show us that we're being successful. What are the outcomes that we expect to see? And hopefully once we've done that, like, we will see some improvement in areas that we think we need to. If I'm being totally honest, it's a little stressful as a superintendent to do some of that work, partly because I am in that work, but it is not necessarily my work. I believe that part of my job as a superintendent is to lead a school district in the direction that our community wants to see it. Now, I'll preface that or post that, however you want to, by saying I don't think that there's a community out there that does not want their school system to be successful.
Right.
Every community wants their public schools to be successful.
Well, we might define success a little bit differently.
Correct. So every community is going to have an idea of what they really think success looks like. And to some, that may be an award-winning band program and fine arts programs. That may be athletic programs that are successful. It could also be high math scores, high reading scores that put us in the top of the line. But we got to be willing to listen to our community to know what those things are. And as a superintendent, my job is to sit back and listen and chime in when I think, but also be a part of the listening group so that I can understand what our community really means when we're developing that plan to be successful.
So, I think one of the things that Texas has at least tried to do, whether successfully or not, right, is to shift away from the college readiness exclusively kind of measurement more towards a college, career, or military readiness, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's a goal, that the mix of that is probably what really changes, but ultimately it's really an educational outcome goal.
It is. Yeah. It's that post-secondary readiness.
Yeah.
Not everything's college. Not everything is career tech education.
Sure.
Not everything is enlisting in the military. But all of those things play into what makes them CCMR, or college, career, military ready, following high school. The state, where it gets interesting, is the state sometimes gets to define what those are, and they don't necessarily always align with what schools think they should be, but I think you'd see that in any state across the country, that you're going to run into those issues where not everyone is always going to agree on what the definition of success is.
Yeah. Well, I guess that would be more ideal, right? Is if the metric was actually more defined by the district itself as to what the makeup is, and then you could actually measure against your goals rather than measuring against maybe another community that looks demographically very different.
That's right.
It is less, maybe it's more white collar or less blue collar, whatever it happens to be. That doesn't mean that kids in a blue collar community can't have white collar aspirations.
There's
they certainly can
absolutely
and should.
the truth.
But it is going to look different.
Yeah. What we need in our area here in Seguin is going to look vastly different than the area that we need in Bullard. In Bullard, we had an amazing career technology program that was health science. Well, we're in Tyler, where there's 3 major hospitals all right there in that area. There was a lot of health science work to be done, health services work. And so from a health science perspective in education, we were able to build programs that helped support that, because that's what some of our people, once they were done with high school, were going to go do. Here in Seguin, it may be more manufacturing, depending on the businesses that we have. It may be college preparedness for TLU that's right up the road, or PSTC that potentially is coming to the city of Seguin here pretty soon. Yeah. All of those things are part of what we have to take into consideration when we develop those strategic plans, because it is very much strategic. What is best for us? Not necessarily what's best for the state, but what is best for Seguin, what is best for the city of Seguin, what is best for Seguin ISD community that encompasses more than just the city of Seguin.
Sure.
But what do we need to do that meets the needs of our area, of our families, of our community?
Absolutely. So, strategies are always great, but there's often, constrictions around what we can accomplish with strategies. And one of those constraints obviously is finance.
Yeah.
And as I understand, maybe we have a little bit of a financial constraint that you've now inherited. And tell me kind of where are we at with that?
Yeah, the past few years now, if you look historically at Seguin ISD, we have operated in a budget deficit. It's just where expenditures are higher than revenue, and that's part of what happens in school districts that are growing. Sometimes you will see a little bit of an increase in expenses because they're trying to prepare for growth. It's a fine balance, though. It's a fine balance of being prepared for growth and then actually seeing the growth that you prepared for versus just
timing it.
That's right. Schools, really public schools in Texas generate their funding. How they are funded basically comes from 3 different areas. We get funding from the state, which is based on an average daily attendance. The basic allotment that the state gives us is, $6,300, $6,160 per student.
Okay.
That's if the student is enrolled and present every single day that they are in school.
Okay.
If they're absent, then we don't get funded for that day. That's why it's an average daily attendance thing. We're one of I think 6 states, 4 or 6 states across the country that are funded off of attendance rather than enrollment.
Okay.
Which is, I don't want to get in the weeds on school finance, but we should get our money from the state.
Yeah.
The second place that we get money is local property values, local property taxes. The school districts in Texas, other than one that is a municipal district ran by city, school districts are independent school districts, which means they're independent taxing entities, property taxes and things like that. And so the district sets a tax rate. Those are the 2 big areas. We do get some funding from federal funds. Those are mostly grants, title monies, Title 1, 2, 4, things like that. Those are the only 3 areas that you get funding for public schools, those 3. So basically, if a school district needs more funding, the only way that you're really going to get more funding is either A, through an increase in property taxes and property values, which, let's be real, is not the most popular way. Nobody wants to pay more taxes, myself included.
Sure.
Who's a resident here in Seguin, in the city, in Seguin ISD. Or you get it through enrollment, which more kids. So more growth, more money to offset that you're educating more students. The other way...
It's a larger component of as a component of the funding, how much of that funding comes from the state versus the local property tax?
For Seguin, we get the majority of our funding from the state. As we get the majority of ours. But it's mostly, I want to say, I don't have the numbers right in front of me. I want to say it's like a 60-40 split.
Okay.
Is what it is. 60,
somewhere
55, 35, and then maybe, 10% from some federal funds and things like that. The other way that you can generate funding is that average daily attendance, the money we get from the state. If students are enrolled in certain programs, they get added weights to their enrollment or to their attendance funding.
Okay.
Career technology education is one of those areas that Seguin as a whole, Seguin ISD as a whole, has not done the best job of programming for our students.
Really?
So it's a combination of two things. From a financial standpoint, we've not done the best job. From an academic standpoint, we have probably done what needs to be done for our students, but we're not getting them as many opportunities as possible. So to put it in perspective, as a former Bullard guy yourself, Bullard, when I left, had about 3,000 students. We've got about 7,200 students here, so a little over twice the size here than we were than I was with my district in Bullard. My district in Bullard was generating the same amount of CTE funding as Seguin has been generating.
Wow.
And it part of it is looking at aligning how course selections happen and course sequences happen for high school students so that they take their career pathway, the pathways that are built in based off of whether they want to do ag, food, natural resources type things, if they want to do business and industry. All of those things play into that. The more classes that they are in that are career technology education, those classes generate additional weighted funding for students. And
it seems like such a natural fit for Seguin.
And it is. It will be.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to put it, is it will be. You can also offer some of those courses at the middle school level. And we did not do that until last year was the first year that we did that.
Gotcha.
So it's not necessarily that we have done a bad job. I just don't think we've taken advantage of money that's on the table. We've left some money on the table that ultimately help build those programs even more.
Right.
And build opportunities for the school district.
For sure.
So we do have some financial things we've got to look at. And part of that is just aligning what we do as a district across, not having 7 elementary campuses that operate as silos or 2 middle schools that operate as silos. One of the sayings that I have shared with the leadership team regularly is we have to create a Seguin ISD that has these campuses and not these campuses that make up Seguin ISD. And so it's about building a unified mission and vision for the school district rather than independently designed campuses that all have their own thing. It's like everybody's in a rowboat rowing, and we're rowing fast as you can get, but everybody's rowing in a different direction.
Is that the feel?
I think sometimes, I think that's part of it. And I don't think that is a fault of anyone. I think it's just being very...
Well, it's an accidental culture that's
absolutely
kind of just happened.
Lots of phenomenal things happening in Seguin ISD. Lots of them. It's just getting them all to align to move in the same direction is all it is.
Okay. Well, so Dr. Lee, tell us a little bit about, is there anything else you want to share with it? She can edit this stuff out.
We're good.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about the school district, or can I move to more?
Oh, no, we can absolutely move to whatever you're ready to go to, my man.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your family, Dr. Lee.
Yeah. Of course, I'm very fortunate. I have a phenomenal wife, 2 fantastic children. My wife, Jessica, is also an educator, has worked in education. She was a special education teacher for several years. Eventually, she moved into an assistant principal position. So she's been an assistant principal. She's been a campus principal. She was a middle school principal at one point. She's been a curriculum director for school districts. And so she's incredibly intelligent. I got the better end of the deal is maybe the way I should put that. I got the very, very much the better end of the deal. And Jessica and I have been married now for 16 years. Yes, sir. We're married for 16 years. Thank you. We have 2 children. Jackson is our oldest. Jackson is a freshman in high school this year. And then we have Emmy, our daughter, who is in 5th grade. And so she's a 5th grade student at Kinnicky Elementary.
Okay.
And both the very different children. Jackson, I like to refer to as my type A kid. Everything has its place. Everything is neatly organized.
Yes.
I remember there was one time maybe when he was in 4th or 5th grade that we had school pictures, and school pictures got sent home. And of course, Jessica and I did not see them. We were like, where are your school pictures? We ordered them. Like, we haven't seen them, Jackson. And here's this 4th grader, 5th grader who goes, oh, I've got them. And legitimately walks into his bedroom, and on his dresser is this plastic basket that he had put there that had every piece of work or anything he had brought home from school was neatly stacked in there. And he went right through it, grabbed those pictures, and goes, here you go, Mom. And then we also have Emmy, who I like to refer to as the Tasmanian Devil. things where just if she goes into a room, there's a good chance there's going to be a mess afterwards.
Yeah.
But one of the most lovable kids on the planet. We're very fortunate. We have two very, very good kids.
Well, that's awesome.
Jackson's involved in band.
Oh,
He's in marching band this year.
he's play.
He's a baritone player. Which, of course, as a dad who used to be a band director before I moved into administration, I'm very proud of the fact that he's in band, and I think he is very much enjoying it. It takes a lot of his time. I think that's something that parents and the community need to also understand is some of the extracurricular things that our kids do. They're time consuming. But those extracurricular things are also what gets them in the door every single day. And if I need them to come into the door because if I get them to come into the door of the schools because they absolutely love ag and showing their animal, or they 100% want to do woodworking, or they're all about theater, or they're all about athletics, or whatever it is, like I'm all in, because if that's what gets them into the building, makes them come to school every day, that allows us to teach the reading, math, science, and social studies, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like that's what we got to focus on. What do kids like? What do they want?
Well, and I could just tell you as an employer, one of the things that we look for and I love to see on resumes is participation in extracurriculars, and particularly extracurriculars that are team oriented.
Absolutely.
And marching band is very much a team oriented activity. It also, I love music myself, and I love the discipline of music.
Sure.
Right. I mean, that
demands perfection.
It demands perfection, and it demands hours and hours of discipline.
Yeah.
And that almost always translates into an employee that you can give any task to, and they will endeavor to master whatever it is they're doing. And they play well with others generally.
Absolutely. Right? No doubt.
We find the same with team sports, people who have participated at usually at a varsity level or higher of team sports that they kind of have the same attitude. And so I just strongly encourage parents, if it's possible for you, to make sure that can happen for your kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would encourage them in that.
Kids need to do extracurricular events. In our house, for Jackson and Emmy, our rule is pretty simple. You have to do something.
Yeah.
We're not going to make you do anything particular.
Sure.
We are going to make you do something. There is not the option in our home to go to school, come home, and sit in your room either watching TV or playing video games all day.
Really?
Does not matter. It does not matter if it's band or theater, art club, like any of those things, but you have to do something. It's about interacting with people. It's about that collaboration, that teamwork that comes into that. Those are all skill sets that you don't necessarily learn in a math class. Right. And you might for some group activities or things like that, but extracurricular things like fine arts, like athletics, ag, band, all those things, that's what plays into teaching kids more than just academic stuff. It's how to be a good person, how to be a perfectionist, how to expect high achievement in things. Football teams, they want to get that first down. They've got 4 tries to get that first down, and then that's it. Like they want that. It's built in. In band, it's perfection. If I had a band in front of us right now and I asked them to play a piece of music and I told them play 90% of your notes correctly, the song would sound terrible. But that would earn you an A in a class because it's 90%. Right. But if I told them that it has to be perfect, that's what we expect. It's the same thing in any other extracurricular thing. That's what gets kids the life lessons that they sometimes need.
For sure.
That you can't get at home always. Sometimes you have parents that have that ability, but not always. And it's just hard.
And, to draw a further distinction, right? I mean, academic projects lend themselves, much like in work sometimes, to a freeloader problem, right?
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
And that's where, somebody just, everybody else is doing all the work. That doesn't work in band.
No, not at all.
That doesn't work in football.
Yeah.
Or basketball. You're just not on the team anymore. You're not in the band.
Yeah.
So you can't freeload in those types of programs. And I think that's really good to teach kids resilience and to teach them that, that dedication and diligence to just keep going forward and not allow everyone else to carry them.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it on the head.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Lee, thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited to hear, I guess here in the next probably 3 months here, we'll probably hear something more on the strategic plan.
We've got some strategic planning that's going to happen here over the next 6 weeks or so. My guess is we'll be ready to release and launch a strategic plan, like a graduate profile, those types of things. December would be my guess, because we've got to do all the work. We've got to collect everything, then we got to start putting it together. But we'll present that to our school board as something that the school board approves as far as major goals are concerned.
Right.
We've also got a handful of other things that we're trying to work on throughout the district. It's pinpointing the biggest bang for the buck. What can we do that gets us the most right now and moves us in the direction that we want to be moving in? We're looking at targeting professional development for our staff, making sure that they have what's necessary for them to be successful. We have great teachers. We have very, very good teachers. We have great kids. Yeah. It's just about getting them the resources they need to be successful and the skill sets that they need to be successful. And we do that by listening to them and looking at what the data says. One of my favorite sayings is data don't lie. It is what it is. And so it tells us what we need to do, and we need to make sure that we're data driven in some of that work. But looking at a targeted professional development plan, looking at how we're structured as a district, trying to align campuses so that we have campuses operating similarly. It should not matter what campus your child attends in Seguin ISD, whether they're at Potlawn Elementary, McQueenie Elementary, Kinnicky Elementary, any of those should not matter. They should get the same quality education at all 3 campuses. And so we're working hard on that, working on accountability. I'm an honest, straight shooting guy, and I share that with the community. I share that in presentations and in events and meetings. And I'm just real in that we have some work to do. We have some real work to do. If you look at accountability ratings, they're not where anybody wants them to be. I've been in districts where I've had high A's. I've been in districts where I've been in the B's. Here, as a district, we're sitting at a 66 rating. We're in a D.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy about that. I'm not pleased with that. That's not where I want us to be. I don't think that anybody in our community wants us to be there. And so we do have some targeted work to do to achieve some movement there. But I think that we have people who are ready to do it. I think that we have people that are passionate about it. I shared with our staff what I thought were 4 key components to us having a successful year in a successful school district. And I tell you, the first one is very much about building relationships. We have to have relationships with our students, teachers, and staff. Whether you're a principal, whether you're a custodian, does not matter. We should have relationships with our students. We have to know who they are and what they need individually, because every student is going to need something different.
Sure.
They're not a number. They're not just a score on accountability. Who are they and what do they need to be successful? And we do that by building solid relationships with them, which allows us to do the second thing, which is use those relationships combined with expert instruction provided by our teachers, and that's where we start seeing success. The third thing is we have to have strong community and parent relationships. How do we build solid relationships with our folks that can help work on our campuses and work on our schools to make us the best place that we can be? And then the fourth and final, which is probably one of my favorite beliefs that I personally have, which is everyone has a role and everyone makes a difference. It does not matter if you are the teacher in the classroom, if you are the bus driver that picks up kids in the morning or takes them home in the afternoon. Doesn't matter if you're the principal or the superintendent. What you do matters and makes a difference in the lives of students. I came from a family of parents that did not graduate high school. A lot of people will talk about being first-generation college graduates.
Yeah.
I was a first-generation high school graduate. Not just a college graduate. And I had parents that instilled in myself, my sister, and my brother the importance of education and how much education could make a difference on what you do with your life and what you can accomplish. Now, mom and dad, hard workers. We always had what we needed.
Yeah.
May not have what we wanted, but we had what we needed. And my parents worked extremely hard. But 2 of the jobs that my parents had, mom for the longest time was a cafeteria worker at the local school. She worked in the cafeteria doing one of the most important jobs you do in public schools, which is make sure your kids are fed and taken care of. And mom did that for, I want to say close to 30 years before she retired as the cafeteria manager at Whitney Middle School, where I grew up.
Okay.
My dad drove an 18-wheeler truck in short haul for an ice company based out of Whitney there for years and years until he hurt his back, had that back surgery. And then my dad had 2 other jobs. He worked for a company welding. He'd go to work at 2 a.m. in the morning because that's when it's cool, and he'd weld. And then he probably one of the best jobs he had up until he retired is he worked for Borden's Milk as the milkman. My dad was, in fact, the milkman. But Dad also, when I went to college, I distinctly remember I've had a job since I was 14 years old. And when I went to college and moved to UT Arlington in Arlington, Texas, there was a period of about 3 months that I did not have a job. I couldn't find one.
Right.
I went from my little towny town that had a high school, and that was it, where you could get a job, to a college, to a city with 3 universities, 4 junior colleges, 5 high schools.
Right.
And so it took me a while to get a position, but I finally did. But in those 3 months, my dad drove a school bus for Whitney ISD in the afternoons. And that check he got from Whitney ISD is what he sent me each month to be able to pay rent on the apartment that I was living in at that time.
Wow.
And so I'm very proud of the fact that I am the child of a cafeteria worker and a bus driver who had parents that made education so important that I went to school and got a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate, and I'm a superintendent now.
That is awesome. But that's a great biography.
Good parents. Very fortunate.
And so it sounds like, this is a challenge here that you not only are you ready for it, but you relish it.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
this is
there is good work to be done.
Yeah.
And just amazing work to be done, and it's because our kids deserve it.
Yeah.
Our kids deserve for good work to be done. Another saying that you could ask any of the leadership team principals, even teachers, that they've heard me say time and time again, it's okay if the work is hard for the adults. It's supposed to be hard for us, so it's not hard for the kids. Good work to be done.
Good work. Good work. All right. Well, Dr. Lee, thank you again for joining us.
Now,
this has been amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Excited to be part of Seguin ISD, part of the Seguin ISD community. It's a good place. I can tell already just in the short time that I have been here, but we're going to make it a great place.
Well, that's good. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Discover Seguin. Hope you'll join us next time when we'll have who knows who we'll have, but it's going to be awesome, whatever it is. So join us next time.